cards. I'm so smart, remember?
Yeah, but like cats are cool.
And
Yeah.
3, 2. Hey everyone, this is Anthony. This is our brand new show here at Iwep Network. It's going to be a show with me and my co-host Tori here. And we're going to have our guest, possibly maybe third co-host. We're going to see co-host. We're going to see how this goes.
Host.
But he's kind of just hanging out maybe for an episode or two just to see how he feels.
I'm here.
But this is more or less the brainchild of mine and Tori's.
Yes.
This is something we talked about way back when we did the Majestic.
Yeah.
We were standing out in the rain.
We were.
It sounds super romantic.
It was so romantic.
We were standing
But
out in
it
the
was
rain
freezing.
with Jack from Murder My Dude, and we were talking about supernatural, and we're like, man, we should do a supernatural podcast. And here we are. And we always talked about it and said like we should start it. So we're gonna start it. So this
Hell
is your first episode ever of Scaredy Cast.
Scaredy cast.
Scaredy.
cast.
Scaredy cast. You need to be
I
on the
almost
show.
said cats.
You need to be on the show just so you can say that into the mic because it's super scary.
We can record you doing an intro. Like, you are now listening to
I can do the
Scaredy
theme
Cast.
song. It can just be like spooky 50s Scooby-Doo kind of stuff.
Please do, and
That
then
would
just
be
you.
fucking
Scaredy
amazing.
cast.
I'm doing
It
this
doesn't
like
have
at
to be a
home.
long intro. Like it could be like a quick 30-second
Yeah,
or
I'll do
25-second. Just like
Please
it could be a
do.
mix between like piano, like kind of like the Scooby Doo, but like and then be like, you are now listening to Scaredy
Yeah,
Cast.
sort of like Twilight Zone sort of thing then?
yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yep,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
doing this.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so
All right.
happy.
Now
I'm
we
so
have our
excited.
intro. We have
I'm so
nothing else.
excited.
We have nothing else. If you're watching this,
Nope.
there's no banner.
Nope.
There's no cool little graphics. So all this is going to be just kind of first trial episodes. See how? I mean, I feel like this is going to happen. This may or may not be a weekly show. It may be bi-weekly. It's going to come down to. There we go. Got it out.
There you go. Good job.
So like our schedules, because I am doing this is now the 6th show, so we're gonna figure it out.
I'm excited.
I'm not working, so I can record as much as possible. But,
Same.
but yeah, so we're gonna kind of do like a little intro show today. We're gonna learn about. Well, you don't have to learn about me if you're watching the network and you know me. You kind of got a grip, but I'll give you my take on what I feel of the supernatural world. And the occult and all that cool stuff. So this is going to be just like, it is a supernatural podcast. So it is going to be, demons, devils, angels. It's going to be ghosts, goblins, and
Ghosties,
ghouls,
aliens.
occult,
Space.
cryptic stuff.
Sea creatures of the deep.
Yes.
Sea creatures. This can be horror movies. This can anything just kind of spooky. We can do cults. Like
Yeah.
so another
Oh,
thing
my
that
brain is so
yeah.
excited.
So another thing that we can kind of do with this too is we can have guests on. So if this is something you'd be interested in, you can come on as a guest. So maybe some episodes we will do a topic like we're going to do today. If you read the title, then you know what the topic is. But we will get into that topic. Don't worry. But we're kind of just the intro. This first topic, I'm going to be honest. Like this is going to be a lot of reading from the phone and kind of just reading from what I found because we started this real quick and. It's supposed to be recorded yesterday, but she's like, "You ready today?" I was like, "I can be."
I was like, oh no, it's not Thursday.
Yeah. But yeah, it kind of like I'm really obsessed with this show on Netflix called Haunted. Have you?
Yeah.
And like people come on and tell their story.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to open the door to people. So say, example, you live in a creepy house.
Please do. Come
We-
on, and then let's go to their house.
We
and
will
do
go
stuff.
to your house and we will record in your house, and you can tell us the creepy things that go on in your house. And if they
Yes.
have it on camera, awesome.
I'll bring my tarot cards, my guy.
Yeah, is that what you have tarot?
Okay,
So you're-
those are like horrifyingly accurate. It's like
Thank you.
it's like whoa. I was there. Like I was going through like a really weird time in my life. Like a month ago, like like the burglary happened. And then like I got like a package in the mail like that I didn't order. It was like 0.1 pounds. I'm like, is this anthrax? Just like a whole lot of things going on. I'm like, okay, I need spiritual cleansing. I got to go fight Satan. So I'm like, okay, let's bust out those cards. Let's see what happens. And like I don't know how it works personally. Like she picked out the cards and read them, and it's like more or less everything in there did eventually come true. And I consider myself a skeptic. I'm like a logic, facts and reason kind of person.
Same here.
kind of
I'm an
person, but-
open-minded skeptic.
Yeah.
I won't dismiss you or say what you say is not true, or I won't like you're crazy or you're stupid, or I won't shut you down. But I will try to figure out what's going on. I've had personal experience where I've seen things and experienced things that I can't justify. I cannot put a reasonable explanation. And I do know that there is theories out there where if you are super, super into this and you're more open-minded to it, you can kind of maybe trick yourself into experiencing things. That's
You
a
can.
theory for people who, are disbelievers, that if I believe in ghosts and goblins and demons and scary, and then like you're in a location that's super scary, you can maybe misinterpret something.
Your brain is very powerful. So,
Yeah.
and it's all about intention. So if you really, really believe there's a part of you that wants to see it, you will see it.
Yeah.
But if you go in there with a very even mind and you are able to use that discernment of what is real and what might not be real, then you're able to gauge a healthy understanding
Yeah.
of it.
So that's, I mean, like I said, we'll get into it in a little bit here about some experiences we've all had, but yeah, that's kind of the idea. I would love to go to like haunted locations. I know there's some locations that we can go to, and like we can go up to like the Gordon Mountain.
I'm so
That's
ready.
like that's one that we could possibly
love
do.
the Gordon
I would like to
Mountain.
do that more in the fall because it's too fucking hot.
No, yeah, I don't want to. It's too hot.
It's gonna be sweaty and
Plus,
just-
it's spooky time.
It's spooky
It's
time.
spooky time.
Yeah.
I thrive in that weather.
Yeah, I'm more of like I could wear like a long sleeve and still have a pair of shorts on kind of deal. Like that's if there's a climate like that in the world, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
But there's not. It's just extreme cold or extreme hot. Or
Yeah.
there's the ones that just experience everything.
I just want to find somewhere that's just eternally fall.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love that.
That's
I
what we need.
remember when I was like you described that sort of weather. I was in the Czech Republic last August around this time. Over here it was hot as hell, but over there it was actually like pretty chilly. So like that could possibly work. But I
Yeah.
bring that up, and then I remember like a possible future topic. I just remember like so many European castles and cathedrals and stuff where like all the furniture, really just everything is just human bones. Like literally, there's a cathedral in like I think the east part of the Czech Republic where it's just that everything, the chandeliers, literally everything is just
it's human remains.
yeah. And it's like holy hell.
Well, how about the catacombs?
Yep.
The catacombs in what, France?
Yep.
Yeah. Crazy.
Almost all of those really, really old cathedrals and mansions and whatnot always have something called the pit in there, what is kind of like the underground catacombs and whatnot. And then there's just a huge, empty, just pit that may or may not be used for sacrifice and sort of stuff like that. So
It's always
Yeah.
just interesting hearing about that sort of thing. It's because like the catacombs under Paris, they go on for like miles and miles and miles, and obviously it's unlit. There's just tunnels down there.
You know, bones and
Yeah, it's like only few people have been down there and know, because like I think it was open for the public for a while, but then they closed it down. I don't know if it's open back up, but basically not a whole lot of people have done it. Who knows what's really down there?
yeah.
And it just like things like that just fascinate me. I think
well,
about
the first thing my logical brain goes to is human trafficking. That's
Yeah.
where my first part logical brain goes. But then the spooky side is just like, and then my Skyrim side comes down. I'm just like, are there joggers down there? Like, I love Skyrim.
I just think it's just like fascinating how much there is that's out there that we don't know and likely will never know about.
Yeah.
Like, so there's the catacombs. I also often think about like Vatican City's secret archives.
Mm-hmm.
It's like literally just underground
lot of-
freaking libraries. Like, I
of
think
chil-
it goes on
A
for
lot of
like
children bones.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
I've heard it goes on for like 32 miles, just
not
like
surprised.
documents and stuff like
Well,
that.
the Vatican is its own thing.
Yeah.
Like it's its own country, so
Yeah.
it has its own laws, and it's like that's scary.
Yeah, 'cause you can go and touch a
whatever.
kid and then go to Vatican and you can't get extradited. So if a high end priest is about to get in trouble, he just goes and lives in the Vatican for the rest of his
while,
life.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that.
Oh man, that makes me want to murder people.
Yeah.
That makes me want to go and murder my dude.
I want to murder my dude. Yeah.
I just want to murder my dude.
There's so much, man. Like, and the reason I'm into the supernatural stuff. Like everything we're talking into, I'm very fascinated by, and I think to the point where it may have tarnished me when it comes to like religion too, because like I don't know, that's kind of where I lie. Like where some like I know some people are like, well, how do you believe in ghosts if you don't believe in God? And I was like, I may believe in a higher power, but I'm not sure if it's the same one that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know, like the demons and devils. I think there are evil entities, but I don't know if I would classify them as demons or devils.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm still trying to learn. Like
And there's a whole lot of stuff from like just the lifelong research that I've gone through and delved down. It's like a lot of the times when people are talking about angels or demons or God and whatnot or beings and whatnot, there's this whole spectrum where I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday where I was just like, there's so much more to our plane, our earth, than just heaven, earth, hell. Because like there's dimensions, there's interdimensionary beings, there's like all sorts of things like ghosts
shadow
are
people.
exactly like ghosts, shadow people. A lot of those aren't necessarily like dead people, like grandma that's just coming to visit you, which it could be, but a lot of the times it's just a crossover. It's just a mash of dimensions where it's a pop in and a pop out.
Yeah. There's actual stories where people woke up, went about their day for like 8 hours, and then like realized like what the everything's fucking strange. And then like they walk back through a door, and then people are like, "Yo, where have you been?" And they're like, "What?" And they're like, and they literally go back, and it might be like the next day, and they lose time. Where they just kind
That
of
sounds like an abduction.
they actually end up like they feel like they've went through some type of wormhole or some type of they somehow crossed into another dimension, and they've seen stuff that they can't explain, and then they come back and they've lost an entire day, or they lost a few hours, or the day never happened and they're just now waking up, but they're like so it's like weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of theories like that could be a future episode, but
It's just amazing how
That
much.
sounds like either astral projection or
Yeah.
it sounds like other things too.
but like these people were awake, like they were going about their day, like
Well, when you astral project, you technically are awake. It's like because there's three. I mean, if you believe in it, there's three parts of your body. There's the physical body, the mental,
just bring that a little closer to you.
the hey. It's the physical body, there's the etheric body, and then there's the astral body. And when you sleep, your astral and your etheric body take over. And so a lot of the times, like when you're asleep, and if you have, like this happens to people when they have sleep paralysis too, they're awake and they see things and they're moving around and they're in their room, but maybe they encounter, like they always say, the sleep paralysis demon or like other things. And you're very cautious of it. And then next thing you know, like you're awake and you're walking out of your bedroom and people are just like, wow, where have you been? It's just that it's very weird. Like consciousness is so slippery.
Yeah, it's neat. But we'll do you have any paranormal experiences that you've ever experienced?
Not that I personally remember, but I do remember one time. I believe I was about 6 months old, and
You remember 6 months
Okay,
old?
I don't remember, but my mom told me about it several times.
I was like, you are a goddamn G.
I remember coming out of my mother's womb.
I remember just seeing these weird curtains,
And then a very bright light.
and then this guy smacked me in the ass. Go ahead.
But yeah, it's like apparently the one time when I was about 6 months old, I don't remember if it was at my dad's house or where, but my mom, she remembers, like she was in the kitchen, I was in the other room, you know, I was just a baby, I was just a toddler. Now I'm just
So wee Max.
yeah, it's
Little
like
baby.
and I just start crying out of nowhere. So she comes into the room and checks on me, and apparently my eyes are just entirely black. And like, I mean, obviously I don't remember that, and I don't know what to say about that. But I mean,
You're a demon, bro. Hello, demon. Demon.
Go, man.
so yeah.
Yeah, I have a few. So I have. I'll kind of get through them quick because I'm sure I'll probably tell a lot of these again on the show or when other guests come on. But like I remember when I was a kid, my mom. This is before the Sixth Sense movie came out. But then when the movie came out, my mom was like, she'd be like, "Yo, you're the Sixth Sense kid," and I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "When you were a kid, like you had imaginary friends, but they were way more in depth than imaginary friends. Like you had a whole thing going on."
Holy shit.
And she's like, you used to talk to a good witch, a bad witch, but like we never explained to you what you wouldn't have known what a witch is.
Yeah.
And I used to like always be in the basement, always just by my bless you. And we all have Rona. All right, and Spooky Cast. Next episode will be ghosts. Hey, I just got that book is here. The Handbook of the Recently Deceased is here, so we'll probably need that.
Yep.
Anyway, so yeah, she said I used to talk to people, and it was like way too in depth and in depth for a kid. Like you know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't something like I watched TV and I picked up these stories. Like,
Yeah.
so she was like, "You definitely were talking to stuff." And then like after my grandmother died, I would run down and be like, "There's a new witch upstairs. You have to come see her. She's a new witch."
Oh my goodness.
So like all these like I was
see, I think that's beautiful.
yeah, I used to like see shit, and like my mom would be like, "You're fucking creepy." Yeah, and then it's funny because you ever have like fever dreams, like when you're sick, you have these weird dreams.
Yeah.
Well, like when they stopped happening around when I was like a teen, like right before I went into my teen years. But I used to have this same fever dream every time where I was a kid and there was something. And now the bad witch lived in the basement, but I had other. This is what I used to tell my mom. I used to have like, these other witches that would protect me, so I can still go down there and play. And I used to have this dream, and I never knew about like when I was a kid. I used to talk these things until much later. So I remember, and in my dreams, I'd be in the basement, and I'd be calling out to somebody, and they wouldn't answer. And I was like, oh, I guess they're not here. And then all the lights in the basement would turn off. And then the basement had the big room, then a long hallway, and at the end of the hallway was like a food pantry. And I would then see whatever was in the food pantry looking at me, like the perspective of the dream changed to like whatever was back there was evil and it was scary, and I didn't like it. So then it would just peek out and see me, and I would see it. And then I would see myself run up the stairs, and then I would then be in the eyes of whatever was chasing me up the stairs.
Interesting.
And right before, like, I would always escape, but it would be like right before I got there, like it would just miss me. And that would be a reoccurring dream for a long, long
That's
time.
so interesting.
Then my mom would tell me about this like experience I had. Like, what? Maybe that's connected somehow. You know what I mean? Now it could be psychological. I don't know. So then another family member who was really close passed away, and at that time I was like 7 or 8. We moved to a new house. We were on this house in Monty City where it no longer exists.
Is this the one with the Hoobastank story?
No. We'll get to that. But so this one was a woman was standing at the end of my bed, and it was a black figure, like a shadow, and it was right when the sun was coming up. So like that Carolina blue look the sky is, it's still dark, but it has a really nice blue to it, is shining through the window. So that, like I can still see what's going on in my room, but this figure no light is casting on this black figure, and it looks like it has short hair. It has like a gown on. And I always kind of make fun of it a little bit because it reminds me like Bret Hart or Macho Man, where it had like it looked like tassels coming down from the arms, and it literally just stood at the end of the bed, and it just did like a snow angel thing to it. And it would go up, it would stop, and then it would go back down.
Oh, that is so cool.
And then it would stop, and then go. And I must have watched this thing for 10, 15 minutes because I was like, I'm definitely awake. I'm definitely seeing this. And then at the end of my bed, I had one of those lights that you can bend and twist. And I had it on my thing, and it was one of those ones where you like turn on, like the turn knob. It wasn't like a push button. And I remember scooting over, and I'm holding the light, and I'm ready to turn on, but I'm like, if I fucking turn this on, one or two things are gonna happen. It's gonna be there.
It's gonna be there,
or it's gonna disappear.
Gone, yeah.
And I'm like, so I just remember, I was scared, but I didn't have the immense feeling that I was in danger or I should be scared. Like it was a very peaceful feeling. There was no sense of like smell, temperature. Like it wasn't cold. I didn't smell anything weird. Like I just remember like I was in the zone, and I was just staring at it, and it was staring at me, and just kept doing that motion and over. And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna click it on, and if it's there or not, I'm just running down the hallway to my mom's room because my dad was at work, my mom was there, so I just clicked it on, and as soon as I clicked it on, I didn't even look. I just fucking jumped out of bed, ran down the hallway. And then I ended up falling. Like I just remember staring, like I was laying on my dad's side of the bed, staring down the hallway to my lit room, and I remember just staring. Like I wasn't scared to the point. Like I was still very curious, but I wasn't curious enough or brave enough to go figure out what it was. But I was just staring down the hallway, like kind of hoping something would look out at me, but nothing ever showed up. And I was like, all right, cool. And then like that was like the last physical thing I ever saw. And then in high school, I kind of had some experiences where I did some ghost hunting and had some experiences. But that's and then like where my parents live now, I seen stuff just out of the corner of the eye, like just a tall man walking, like a tall shadow
I get
man
those
walking.
all the time.
And I always had like a weird feeling that I can sense weird things like that. Like I was like, but I also always try to bury it as well. So that's why I kind of say like I'm a skeptic, but I'm an open-minded skeptic because there's things that I've experienced that I can't. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I think what the thing is, I think it can exist, but I think a lot of people's experiences too can be, like how we talked about before, can be embellished. So I always try to determine if it's legit or not.
Yeah.
So how about you? What's your spooky experiences?
Well, okay. So my thing is, my great grandmother was a Pennsylvania Dutch faith healer.
Okay.
And so it's
That's a whole deep, dark
the
thing
powwows, the Pennsylvania Dutch powwows.
Yeah.
The
They had their own
Wacheri.
language
Yep,
and-
it's light language. People are thinking that it's a lot of people think that like the light language or speaking in tongues is like a lot of like that kind of like demon possess you and da 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 da. Well, a lot of the thing is with speaking in tongues and having that other language, it's not as like demonic as people think it is. Light language is the idea that every vowel, when you say a vowel, it resonates in a different chakra point.
Okay.
So different, like let's say ah or whatnot resonates in, I'm guessing, the heart chakra. So it's the idea of using words with those vowels as almost like verbal frequency, vibrational to heal,
Yeah.
and whatnot. So yeah, that's light language, speaking in tongues.
How much of that of the Pennsylvania Dutch is embedded with like Wiccan or paganism?
Well, I'd say it kind of depends. Okay, so it's almost like everybody's like Italian family's like sauce recipe. It's
Yeah.
like depending on the family.
Yeah.
So it's like I know my great grandmother was very much like she prayed over people and she was very much like I believe in God and everything. And so I mean the Pennsylvania Dutch faith healing is rooted
Christian.
in God.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, what they're doing, I mean, even though there was witchcraft in the Bible, hello.
Yeah.
But it's not the stereotype of, Christian. It's like, it's heavily rooted in God, but with the other like metaphysical aspects to it and like, the laying of hands and like the healing aspect and doing all sorts of stuff and root magic and herb stuff. And like there's a little Pennsylvania Dutch thing that when somebody is going on a long trip, you make them coffee in the morning and you take just like a pinch of dust in the corner of like your room and you just put it in their coffee and that's supposed to help with like being homesick. So it's like that kind of stuff. But it's like it's a little weird like throwing dirt in your coffee. But like for me, it's
like
just,
I said, it does sound a lot like with paganism too, because
It is, yeah.
There's things with have you ever seen the movie The Midsummer?
Midsommar. Oh, I love Midsommar.
Oh my god!
Can we all just hold hands and scream cry with each other?
That movie is fucking crazy.
I love it. I love it so much. It's very scary. Like there are parts where I'm not like just like yeah, I love watching old people jump off a cliff, but it's no spoiler
Oh,
alert.
yeah.
Okay, so I haven't seen this. Can you give me just like one sentence?
College kids go to this girl is experiencing some fucked up shit. Her
whole
sister
family basically
her sister
dies.
killed herself and her parents
Oh.
while she was away at school or whatever, and it haunts her. She still has some deep rooted psychological mental health issues with this. Like it still messes with her. She's dating this guy who's a piece of shit.
Oh my god.
He always like trashes her to her friends, but him and his friends are gonna go to Sweden because this one guy that they go to school with is from Sweden, and his family is part of this paganist religion family. I don't want to call it a cult.
It's called a family.
Yeah, but
I mean it's
it's a
people-
cult.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a cult.
It's a cult. If you're
It's
boiling
a religious
it down,
institution. It's a
yeah,
family.
like they live in this land, and it's all deep rooted in paganism. And the crazy thing with the movie is there's a lot of hidden imagery in it. Tons
beautiful.
of hidden imagery.
It's
like
so good.
there's one part of the scene where she's walking and there's a tree.
Oh my god.
And the tree is literally like her sister
Sister's
kills
face.
herself by sealing the whole house off, then running the car in the garage and opening the doors, and then pretty much giving everyone in the house
Yeah.
CO2 poisoning, and so they go peacefully.
tubing.
But she ran a piece of tubing from the car as a gas mask on her face.
It's so
But if you're not
disturbing.
paying attention in the movie, there's stuff hidden in the trees. Like the one tree is literally shaped like her sister and a tube going down.
Oh.
Or
Yeah.
in the crowd when they're walking and she's like on shrooms and whatnot,
And
and
she
everyone's
sees her
just like good job,
parents,
and
yeah.
her parents are walking by and she's like,
Yeah, crazy movie.
oh, it's beautiful.
But so they go to this this place, and somehow she gets invited, but the boyfriend didn't want her to be there, and then she ends up becoming like a bigger deal with this group than she anticipates.
she becomes the May Queen.
Yeah, it's really it's creepy.
Well, and like another thing where it's just like when I was mentioning before about like how some people delve into blood magic and sex magic, it's like what I can't remember the younger girl that was redhead that put her period blood in the lemonade. Like that's blood magic and sex magic. Like
Yeah.
that's a way that like some pagan rituals, like that's how like somebody ties somebody to you.
Yeah.
Which I don't. That's not right unless somebody is like you give. It's everything has to do with consent. It's just like there's
She was
good
into
and
this.
there's
She was
bad.
into the girl's boyfriend.
Yeah.
So I actually picked up, like, they don't tell you this in the movie. So unless you're, like, really paying attention, or you may have some interest or some knowledge of it going in. So a lot of the movie is, like, they show you these artworks or these blankets or these things. And all these blankets, spoiler alert if you're going to watch it, all these blankets tell you what's going to happen in
Yep.
the movie. They literally,
it's
like,
brilliant.
the first 6 seconds of this movie, they show you this artwork, and it literally...
It's the quilt, isn't it?
Yeah, the quilt. It lays out the entire movie.
It's so,
So-
good.
They're talking about this blood thing where if a girl likes you, she will menstruate, and then she will put a couple drops in your drink, and then if you consume it, you will have this infatuation with her that you cannot shake. So keep an eye out your drinks around this. So they talk about it, and then like 8 other crazy fucking things happen in the movie, so you kind of forget it happens. And then there's a scene where they're all eating dinner, and this girl's just staring at him like a weirdo. and the thing was where it was pubic hair and also blood.
Yep.
So he's eating and he pulls a hair out. So, but they put so much.
Look a pube to you.
They put so much in front of you that you hopefully forgot about that before, and then everyone's lemonade on the table is yellow, and his
That
has
was a brilliant
and his
shot.
looks like
A little
like
orange.
grapefruit. It
Like
looked
a
like
little
grapefruit juice.
orange.
And he drinks it and he kind of like he doesn't. It's not something that you notice on camera. Like they don't zoom in and like make a big deal that he thinks something's different.
Very subtle.
But he
Yeah,
had all
it's
these subtle
so
things.
good.
Yeah, it's such a creepy movie.
It's so fantastic. Oh my god.
But like paganism and Christianity have all these weird dark
Oh,
tie-ins.
Yeah. Everything does. That's the duality of life.
Like paganism had all their holidays based on some like winter,
solstices.
the solstices and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Christianity came along, they're like, well, how can we convert your people over to our religion, but still meet in the middle? And they're like, well, how about we move our Savior's birthday to December and do it with your winter solstice, and then we can put his death and resurrection in the summertime. That can be like the summer or the fall, like, you know what I mean? So a lot of our major Christian holidays, they change the dates to coincide with like Good Friday, Easter Sunday, Christmas, are all in coincide with the seasons of the changing.
Yeah. And that's actually what happened to Pan, the god Pan.
Yeah.
Was Pan was actually the only god in mythology to die. Because what had happened was when settlers came over and changed everything to Christianity, what they had to do was to relate something like their gods to something else of theirs, to kind of be like, oh, we're alike. Like this, you have our stuff, so like you should just join our club. And Pan was actually taken out of context by Christianity as the devil, when Pan really wasn't. He was just like, I'm going to be in the woods with the nymphs, and I'm going to play my flute, and we're going to drink and be happy. But they changed
Christian
it.
was a giant pagan, just booze party.
Yeah.
Just sex, debauchery. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a big party. Yeah.
And because of that, like, it's kind of like the idea of just like Tinkerbell, when it's like you stop like believing in her, like
She goes away.
dies, she goes. It's kind of like the same thing, where it's just like one day Christianity got so big, and then people really didn't pay attention to Pan, and it was all
Yeah.
like to scare them into believing, like, because the pagans at the time didn't have a true evil.
Yeah.
They didn't understand that. And so not all religions, but like a lot of religious institutions will use evil and fear to control people. So they kind of saw that and was just kind of like, oh no, like that's the devil, like that's a bad thing. And they're just like, oh, we didn't know, like it's whatever, just hanging out. And they're just like, oh no, well, and then it's
Like we
Pan died.
A lot of us started with like the country, like started like a lot of paganism and stuff like that, and paganism. Then how also there's
the
all
Native Americans.
yeah, and then like Wiccan is like a branch off of that. Like there's always extremes or different tie-offs, but then like when the people came over and actual settled and started making the laws and the rules of our land were Christian, and then that's when like the witch trials were starting to happen, and if you didn't believe, like you were out of here. But they were a lot of our beliefs of our country were started with the extremists views of Christianity.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't believe what we believed, like you died, and that's like how we started.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah.
And there's still laws that are written to this day that are based off his beliefs
Yeah.
that we're still like trying to overcome.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy. And it's like those little laws that are just like, look over here, look at like these other things. That one's like in like a vault somewhere, which is like, haha, we're gonna keep this in here.
Yeah, so weren't the pilgrims like really sort of like extreme with their beliefs?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's nutty. There's a lot of different.
it's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. We'll get into it, but I'm sorry. We got it on a tangent there with
I
the
honestly-
Pennsylvania Dutch.
Oh yeah, but it's passed down through the females in the family. So it's like someone of my grandmother's had it, my aunt has it, my mom has it a little bit, and I have it. So and as I've gotten older, and I actually worked with a good friend of mine and spiritual mentor who has recently passed on, Amy Wolf. She taught me a lot, and I am now consider myself an intuitive reader, an intuitive, empathic tarot reader, oracle reader, whatever. So what I do is I not only feel, like not necessarily like touch feel, but I can be overcome with emotions and feel people. And also I can get like blips in my brain, as I explained it, it's memories that aren't mine. Kind of like, I just like memories that aren't mine, where it's just kind of like I can just think and I can see faces, I can see people. And I've started doing a meditative practice where I put noise canceling headphones on with like static, and I cover my face, and I just sit there, and like my mom will answer questions in another room, and I record myself, and then I just kind of like say whatever comes forward, or if I get messages and whatnot, and like almost all the time it like correlates. So that's, and I like aliens.
Yeah.
So that's my thing.
You should definitely, like how we talked about going back to the barn. You should definitely meet Tim's mom.
I hear she does tarot readings.
She did one on a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of what she told me, I mean, obviously because like it wasn't like a paid reading, so it wasn't like, I think she held back with some stuff, but she has a different way of doing it that I think normal tarot card readers do.
So do I. What does she do?
Hers is where if she knows that something not good is going to happen or something she doesn't dwell. She doesn't want any negativity. So even if it's something that she could tell you, she's not gonna. That's not her business.
I don't do that either. I do the same thing.
And then hers are very like I don't want to misquote, but like a lot of the stuff she was saying, it was just she was doing it, and obviously being on camera and stuff. So I thought maybe it had some effect. But a lot of the stuff she told me was like way out in the future type deal. There was one that she told me, I was like, please don't be true. Like if there's anything we could do to change this, please do this. But she said that there's, I guess she was saying that if you have a child, you can like your child already exists in a dimension or a world, and you're just waiting for it to be like come. So supposedly there is a boy
waiting for you.
And it's supposed. And so she was saying like there's you and Heidi, and I'm like, me and Heidi are very dead set on not having children. So that little bastard's gonna hang out there forever. He better already go and just find a new. They better put him up for a spiritual adoption because he's never gonna enter this existence.
Like I've already done meditations and everything. Like I know there's a little girl waiting for me. I have dreams of her. I already have her name. I have like all the time. Like I draw her. Like I know that there's a girl waiting.
So she told me there's a boy waiting, and I was like, I'm sleeping on the couch for the next couple months. No pregnancies. Thank whatever God is up there. And then she told me that, I guess she told me some of my companions, which is in other words like an angel or a guardian angel. So she told me a grandfather and a grandmother, and but she said then I made like a joke. I was like, well, depending on what grandfather and grandmother. Man, that's going to be a fun conversation because one of my grandparents did not have a great relationship later on in life. Like they divorced and split on and went their own ways. So I was like, if it's them two again, boy, you're going to be, it's going to be loud over there. But I guess she was trying to say it was more of a mother-father figure and my dad's mother. So they're my guardians or spiritual things. I was like, all right, that makes sense. Now, some of the stuff, like obviously just looking at me, like this is where my skeptic kicked in. She's like, your grandfather told me to tell you that, you should stop with the fast food. And I'm like, listen, look at me. I'm fat as fuck. Like, it's not easy to fucking say that I just eat fast food. Like, you know what I mean? Like, your grandfather said you should probably lose a couple pounds. I was like, well, fuck you, man. You drank all the time. Like, who are you to yell at me?
As I say, not as I do.
Yeah, so there was obviously some jokes in there. And then she really started diving into Heidi. And like she was telling Heidi about her best friend and like described Heidi's friend to a thing and like your friend's going through things, but I want you to know that your friend's okay. Aww. Like she even like was doing the cards. So she was focusing on me doing the card, but she was like, it's weird because your cards are teaming up with her. Like
that happens. That happens. It's so cool.
And then and I guess she was kind of like saying like you guys have a very, very strong connection that doesn't really because that happens when there's a strong connection. So like she was reading the cards and she's like, "Does this?" I'm like, "That doesn't make sense." And she's like, "Come here, Heidi." And then Heidi came over to the table and she's like, "I think this is for you," because she said you're really close. This is showing that a woman is very close to her mother, and like she probably nailed more things for Heidi than she did me. But it was a very interesting reading. Like she told me, I won't see anything major until like 7 years. But on 7 years you're gonna have like. So like pretty much saying like money isn't going to be an issue, like your work's going to pay off type deal. And I was like, all right, listen, I'm also sitting in front of you with podcast equipment, so that's my step.
I can see that.
Like, but here's the thing, like I'd never got a vibe from her like she was trying to deceive me or be deceitful. Like she's a fucking amazing woman. So when I say like my skeptic kicked in, it's just the situation made me skeptic, not the person. Because Tim's mom is just a fantastic person.
Oh, I've never met her. I want to meet her so bad.
So I think like you two would have a cool connection.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That would be so fun.
But,
Tim,
like,
if you're watching.
But here, like the thing with her too that I was kind of even saying is like, I asked her, I'm like, is yours a visual or do you just hear things? And she's like, oh, I only hear. I'm like, so you don't see anything? And she's like, no, because like I would watch her, and she just kept like looking in like parts of the room, like she was looking at something and like nodding, and I was like, is she seeing stuff too? Like, because some people I guess are visual, some people like
There's a spectrum.
The way she described it is like a radio station going off in her head,
Interesting.
and then she can pull the voices. Like
I love
she
that.
lets her like she said that she describes herself as just being like an open communication line.
Yeah.
There are some people who can turn it off and turn it on. She leaves hers on all the time, and she'll just have waves coming through. She told a story on the podcast where she was doing phone work, like she was working from home from a phone, and she was talking to this guy about trying to help him with his bill or something, and she was just like, she told this guy like something like, hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, but like something's telling me to tell you
That's
something.
happened to me. It's such a weird feeling.
And she told him, and he's like, lady, you're kind of full of shit. And she's like, can I tell you something, but don't get upset with me? Mm-hmm. She's like, this is what it's telling me to tell you so you believe me. And I guess she told the guy, she goes, you have one ball. Like, whatever it was, personally knew that he was in a situation where he only has one testicle. And this thing told her to, like, whatever told her to tell him that. And he was like, lady, how the fuck do you know that? He's like, she's like, I'm telling you, this is what I need to tell you. This part, like, this is what I'm told to do. And that was, and I'm not trying to offend you, but this is the way that I was going to.
Don't shoot the messenger. That's
Exactly.
what I say.
And he was just like, so that was one of her experiences. Or she said she'll have an experience like, well, she'll be at a gas station and she'll go to open her car door and someone's like, wait, and she'll pull her door closed and somebody comes screeching, like pulling in. Like, so all these interesting, like I said, she's super fucking interesting. Like, it was such a cool, and then like experiencing that and then being with her and Tim and just like, it just, I don't know. She's a cool person.
Yeah.
That was my
so
first
great.
dive into a podcast with supernatural, with interviews with everyday people.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I remember going back to certain things, and like as my stuff started to develop, things around me started to physically happen.
Yeah. Oh,
Where
not to cut you off.
Go
One
ahead.
other thing I remember too, she has circle cards, which are different from square cards.
Yep.
So the way she reads is different because of the type of card she uses too. Like all her cards are like coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's the same deck that my mom has. They're circles, but I mean,
They're big.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're big. That's another
Yeah.
thing that just popped in my head that I remembered because she
Yeah,
told me
there's
that's
all
different.
sorts. There's tarot. There's tarot cards, like a tarot deck, and that has more of a like a traditional like playing card where it's just like it has suits and it has like the Empress and whatnot. It has specific things, and then there's oracle cards, and oracle cards can literally be anything. Like I want to work on an oracle deck where it's just like dog breeds that like mean something different because it's just like, and everything is, it's so vast with all these and I have 13 or 14 decks now.
How many cards are in the tarot deck?
78.
So
And
she said it's
then-
like a pinochle deck. It's like it's not like
Kind
the
of.
normal 52. Like
No.
it adds another 2 suits, but she
I'm
goes,
not
you
familiar with Pinochle, but it's probably right.
But she said pretty much with a tarot card deck, you can play poker with it
Oh, that's cool.
because like the way like there are the 4 suits are there, so like you can do a reading with a pair like a regular playing card deck.
Yeah.
You don't have the full
Yeah,
72.
and people do that, yeah.
But you can do a reading with 52 cards, like a regular playing deck. Like
Yeah.
the King of Hearts will mean the same thing in the King of Hearts that it does in a tarot deck.
Yeah, because it's all symbology.
Yeah.
That's
Or
interesting.
symbolism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think I can do that at a casino?
Go ahead and try.
I wonder if someone who does like you read like if you're playing cards at a thing and like something flips, you're like
Like if the three, if
Folding.
like, if like the three, could you imagine? I'd be like, all right, come on, guys. Like,
like say like the 9 of spades is the devil card and it flips over, you're like fold.
I'm good for right now. Thanks.
Are we going to Hollywood Casino and trying this out?
Yeah, why not?
I keep looking for a chat that's not there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So as I started going on, and I mean, I've been reading tarot since I was 10 because my mom read tarot her entire life. So I just kind of grew up magically. So things started shifting once I moved into my own apartment. And so now don't get freaked out, but like, because it's fine. But like, so there
There's a
were.
team in there.
No, it's very clean. It's very cleansed. It's very peaceful. It's at the top of the apartment, so everything's a pyramid, so the energy goes up and out. Anyway, you're welcome. Yep. Oh, whatever. So things started to physically happen around me. And I remember one time I was in bed, and I do writing before I go to bed, and I started feeling something. And a lot of the times, like, I think somebody may have passed away that lived in my apartment, just because every
The
night,
chances are very high.
every time I have to talk to my landlord, because like every time I go to bed, I always just like have this like feeling that like somebody's just like coming into my bedroom and just like walking around and doing things. I don't see them, but I feel like somebody's gonna come in and walk around. But I was in there the one time, and my friend's dad was in a really rough spot, and he was gonna pass away. And I remember I did a reading for him, and then afterwards, like I cleansed and I showered. I did my routine that kind of like cleaned it out, and then I was going to bed, and I was sitting there and I was writing, and then my cat Willow stands up, and I can hear something at like the foot of my bed. And so like Willow like gets up and she looks over my bed and she's just doing that thing where she like cats just kind of stare, and I was just like, okay, whatever. And then I started hearing like more rustling sounds. And so then I was just like,
Like something's crawling on the floor.
yeah, like I'm at this point it's just like
Why does everything have to crawl? Like
I
that's
know. So it's like at this point like things happen, like they don't really scare me. It's just kind of like a thing.
something crawling on the floor is gonna get me every time.
It's just like, so I was like, okay, and then it like and then it stopped, and like I looked over, and like my clothing that I had put in like a pile in front of my bed, there was a scarf there, and something had grabbed my scarf and just pulled it out to it was just like a straight line, like right like out from my bed, and I just stood there and I went, and then I just kind of like saged it, and I was just like, Dad, you gotta go. You gotta get the hell out of my apartment. Like, you're not doing this. And then the next day I talked to my friend. He didn't pass away, but he had a really rough night where he was in and out. And I was just kind of like, I think it was here.
Yeah.
And the funniest part about that was he had actually fallen out of his bed in the middle of the night, and he was crawling. So he had crawled to underneath his bed. So I was just kind of like, Mike, like I had to sage your dad out of my apartment.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Like all that stuff is pretty much what we're going to dive into on this podcast.
Yeah.
So that now you have a little bit of backstory. We have Max, who is a demon. We find out as
He's
a kid.
demon.
Tony is the open-minded skeptic who has weird experiences, and then you're
I
just
believe in everything.
and you're just a witch. You're just like
Yeah. I'm Glinda.
you're a polka because like Pennsylvania Dutch.
Pennsylvania polka?
Yeah, Pennsylvania polka.
Yo, Scabachi.
Dutch witch. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I like it. But so we have a lot of cool stuff. You are working on it. You have kind of some logo ideas.
Oh, heck yeah.
So that'll be coming. Hopefully, if you're watching the show, the logo is there. So I'm just kind of talking for no reason right now. But going how you said, like, I've had experiences too where I can go somewhere and be like, something doesn't seem like there's like an energy.
Yep.
Like I can't describe it. Like I remember when I went to my wife's house for the first time, and I remember going to sleep there, and I was just like I remember being in the shower, and I just remember seeing like you don't it's not you physically see it, but you feel that something is
feel like it's
there or
walking
something is
by.
walking by,
Yep.
and I was like, and no one's home. And I was like, all right, something just walked from where we sleep across the bathroom and then down the hallway. And I was like, and I know no one's home. I'm home alone. And then we went to sleep, and like I could not sleep because it literally sounded like there was people talking all night long. And the only thing I can get in my head, like, because then you don't physically see anything, but you kind of like have like an image in your head.
Yep.
And I can't really tell if it's my mind just putting an image to what I'm hearing or just my mind's playing tricks. So I can't really describe it, but I was seeing a bunch of people sitting around a table playing cards. No idea why, but that was the image I was getting. And it was happening like in another room. And then I was like, I can't sleep here. And he's like, why? And I was like, dude, it literally seems like, it feels like I'm sleeping in a boarding house. Like I feel like there's a whole bunch of people here, and it's just like it's not just one family. Like it's a collective amount of people
It's communal living.
that are here. Like it's communal living, and they're like, this used to be a boarding house.
And
And I was like, I'm moving out very soon.
hell yeah.
Yeah,
I
like so
love that shit.
so I've had situations where I've taught, like when we used to do our ghost hunting in high school, like we talked to mediums and stuff, and a lot of them said like, you have an ability if you're willing to do it, and I was like, I don't know if I'm willing to do it.
I said that to you when we first talked.
You know
I was
what I
just
mean?
like, you're very empathic, and you're like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I get a lot of that as well, like where some people say like I have the ability to do stuff like that, or people who said they can see like auras in people, like you have a certain thing about you, like I can sense that in people and I sense it with you, and I was like, interesting. I don't want to talk about it no more.
Yeah.
But I guess this is like the start of the podcast where if we come across that or people do say stuff, instead of being more like closed-minded to it, I'm just like, all right, let's dive into this. But it's
Yeah.
gonna be on recording. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna get to the point where my entire life's gonna be recorded. Like,
I really hope at some point my mom opens up to the idea of like coming on for like some sort of interview or something. Because like,
Aw, she's
her
so
being
sweet.
dude, I just think it'd be fascinating that like anytime that someone lived in a different location than me,
Yeah.
fascinates me.
But like she just tells me stuff all the time. Like so, since she's from the old country, she's like really into like mysticism and stuff like that. And just like I remember like all the time if we're driving, if like a black cat crosses the road, nope, we got to turn around and go like 14 miles the other way because like,
no,
she
she
won't
wouldn't like
do it.
Willow.
Oh, like superstitious.
It's weird. Like she's not like ridiculously superstitious, but it's like oddly specific with like things like that. And then a lot of the time, she has like dreams. Like she'll have like a specific dream, and then it'll turn out like something happened. No, that correlates like that. Like
Those are important, man.
like her mom passed away. I don't remember if it was last summer or the summer before. I think it was last summer. But like the night that happened, she had like just a horrible nightmare, and that's when it happened. And then there's currently a big thing with like the apartment that she owns over there, like a whole big thing. And pretty much every time she has like a dream about her mother or her father, because they're both deceased, like something's happening over there. It's just like it's weird how things are connected like that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely. That's why I'm saying I don't totally not believe it because that kind of stuff is strange. Like I definitely think there is a spiritual world or realm where there is some type of connection still is trying to happen. So yeah, but it doesn't happen. I think a lot of people, me included, like the reason they don't believe it because it doesn't happen on their terms.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And that's a lesson that everybody has to learn that it's not going to be on your terms.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. All right. So anything else anyone wants to add or any ideas for the show or any topics before we dive into our main course here?
Just one thing I
was
sort
gonna
of
say, do you have anything you want to say?
Yeah.
Like I think it's interesting. Like we kept bringing up like the the tarot that you do and the tarot that Timmy's mom does. It's all like trying to go for good readings because like specific like I just remember hearing like so
I always
want to
hear the bad though. I don't know for me. I just like tell me
I
the worst.
would never want to hear the bad just
do.
because like the things I've heard. It's like Cliff Burton from Metallica. Like I think like a few days, maybe a week before he died in that the tragic bus crash in 1986 in like Denmark, wherever that was. That was oddly specific, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've watched many
shtick, man.
documentaries. But like apparently him, Cliff Burton, and the drummer from Raven, they were like on the tour bus just doing tarot cards. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but like it was not good for Cliff. And sure enough, a week later, a whole bus crash. He's the only one that died. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
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 And I mentioned it to you before, but it's like there's always like fortune tellers or whatever. Like there was like Nostradamus, people like that. But that was like how many 100 years ago. But I remember hearing like when I went to Bulgaria last August, I was like doing research, and it turns out there was like sort of like fortune teller, or, whatever better term there is. There was a woman who lived in like just literally the middle of nowhere in the country.
Oh, that's how I'm trying to be.
She went by the name Baba Vanga, and people would just come visit her because like she was apparently ridiculously accurate with her stories. At one point, I think in the 70s, like a Bulgarian pop singer, she went to visit her because like, oh, we're on tour, we want to be trendy, let's go have your fortune told, that sort of thing. And she gets there.
They sounded like that too.
Actually, I don't hate on that because if I had money, I would be that person. Like I want to go experience shit. Yeah.
That's fair.
The only reason I'm not doing it is I don't have the money to do it or the time.
Yeah. Like, so she goes in there. She's like, okay, I'm ready to meet Baba Vanga. So Baba Vanga's just like staring out the window for like 30 minutes. The pop singer's about to leave. Baba Vanga turns around. She has like a sad look on her face. She says, if you try and return, you won't make it. She dies in a car crash 3 weeks later.
Stop.
Trying to go back to her?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's supposedly there's a story, and if people listen to this and you are local and you know more about it than I do, please contact us.
Yes.
Because I don't know if supposedly in Ringtown there's a story.
Ringtown Witch.
The Ringtown Witch.
Yep.
Ooh.
And
My friend Mitch knows about that. So I
really,
was talking to him.
now supposedly a lot of that lore was actually used in a horror movie, and I believe the movie was called Darkness Falls, and
Oh.
except they changed a little bit of the movie where it's like a tooth
As
fairy,
Hollywood does.
like a tooth fairy type deal. But the story is that these children used to go to her, and she was a spiritual witch. Like she was openly a witch, and she was more of a healer than anything. She wasn't anything negative. But these kids used to always go to her, and she was very polite to the kids in the area. And Ringtown is like she was kind of out in the middle of nowhere in Ringtown. And you have to cross this bridge to get to her house and the whole nine. And these kids end up missing, and people knew that the kids used to go to see her. So, fearing what you don't understand, they blamed her for the kids' disappearance. And a day or two goes by, so these parents are like, "She has our kids." And, like, the police are like, there's nothing we can do about it. Like, we can't go in there and search. There's no proof. There's no evidence. So they torched her house and killed her, burned her house down. And they found the kids 2 days later lost in the woods. The woman had nothing to do with it. So, and I guess they've rebuilt the house a few times. And every single time someone who's not bloodline has owned the property, the house would burn down. And now I guess the people who live on the land now are bloodline to her, and they haven't had an issue since. But there used to be stories that if you try to cross the bridge, you would have these different paranormal.
We going?
I don't know, dude. Because the story is like your car stops and like these dogs come out. Which I mean, like, all right, maybe the people own dogs,
Right.
and then like you would see her in your backseat. Fuck that, bro. I'm running.
You can park down the lane and I'll walk
Yeah. So
with a GoPro, and you can just be in there monitoring. I'll go.
She's dead. Pack it up.
We're making a Yui. Let's go.
Max's mom's driving. Black cat. We're out of here.
See, I'm all into that stuff. Like,
There's
I used
a lot
to be
of local
so,
cool stuff.
There is, and I used to be so afraid of like that kind of stuff until one day I realized that I just didn't want to be afraid of it anymore, and then I just wasn't afraid of it anymore, and that's when like, what a concept.
Yeah.
And then like everything just started like flooding. Like there would be times like when I was a kid and like talking about how I would close my eyes and I would see things. There'll be still times when this happened to me all the time as a kid where I would like go to sleep and I would just see like, it's really weird. It's almost like they like phase in and out. They're just like these really scary faces that'll just pop up, and like they used to like just like torment me as a kid.
I get that at night.
Yeah, and I get that every now and again, and all I really do is because
It's only my toe. I got it.
ooh,
I got 9 more.
footsies.
Play footsies down here.
I've come to learn and believe that everything negative can't touch you unless you give it consent.
Yeah.
Because it's what it is. I mean, folklore of like vampires, like they can't come into your house without consent. Like demons can't enter your body without consent. Like that is true. It's like you can't, if you don't allow it to happen, it won't. So like I would let it scare me as a kid, and as I got older, I tried putting that into practice. So when I would see something in there, I would just kind of like feel, and like I started realizing, like I started like radiating images of light from my heart and my third eye, and I would like call on my guides, and it would just like go away, and I would just like really quietly fall asleep. So yeah.
Interesting. I'm into it. So the Mothman. That's what we're here for.
Mothman!
So it took 53 minutes, but we're here.
Oh shit.
53 minutes. No, it's fun. Listen, we had to start an intro somehow. We
Yeah,
got to let
man.
people know what we're into. If we would have just started in like Mothman, and then every other week episode is like, well, you're not doing a topic because you're talking about something else. Like this show is very open ended.
Yep.
Pretty much this podcast is just to kind of not scare you, but stuff that can possibly, like, we're dealing in things that are not pleasant.
Yep.
Yeah, or that maybe they can be pleasant. Who knows? It's just supernatural. But the Mothman. What do you know about the Mothman, Max?
Was that a superhero?
Very close.
Mothra.
Oh.
Mothra.
Yeah.
Wasn't a
Godzilla
superhero, it
and
was from
Mothra.
Godzilla. But I'm sure I think there's a Mothman in the Tick, isn't there?
There might be.
I think there's a guy from the Tick. That's the Mothman.
Could be.
So do you know anything about the supernatural version of the Mothman?
Honestly, no.
Okay. Well,
I
there's a
love
lot of
him.
different theories.
I love him.
All right, so the Mothman, first, now a lot of this I am reading from my phone, so if I mess up reading, don't shoot me. In
We're
West
gonna
Virginia,
bully you.
it is a West Virginia folklore. It started in West Virginia, like many things do.
Point Pleasant, to be
West
exact.
Virginia.
Yeah, Point Pleasant. The Mothman is a creature from reportedly seen. I am reading this from Wikipedia, so take it for what it is as well there too. I will go to different sources and news things as well. But it was seen in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, from November 12th, its first sighting, 1966, until December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper published in Point Pleasant registered date November 16th, 1966, titled "Couples See a Man-Sized Bird, Creature, or something." The national press soon picked up the reports and helped spread the story across the United States. Now, that was the first reported sighting of the Mothman. There was one of the first stories of the Mothman came from two guys that were grave digging, but we'll get into that in a moment. So the Mothman was introduced to a wider audience by Gary Baker in 1970 and later popularized by John Keel in his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies.
Love it.
Claiming there were supernatural events related to the sighting of the connection and the collapse of the Silver Bridge. So the day the Mothman kind of stopped being seen in this area was the bridge collapsing in that area of the Silver Bridge. Now, the Mothman appears to be in pop culture. In 2002, the Mothman Prophecy starring Richard Gere was based on Keel's book. There's an annual festival in Point Pleasant devoted to the Mothman legend. So Point Pleasant is just a tourist trap when it comes to the Mothman. There's a statue built of him.
They're really milking it.
They're really into it. You can go and buy Mothman cookies and pizzas, and a lot of people see him as more of a prophet than they do as a creature that's going to hurt you.
Like a harbinger of death.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, on November 2nd, 1966, 5 men who were digging a grave at the cemetery in West Virginia claimed to have seen a man-like figure flying low from the trees over their heads. It's often identified as the first sighting in what was known as the Mothman. Shortly after there, on November 15th, 1966, 2 young couples from Point Pleasant, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Mallet, told police they saw a large gray creature whose eyes were glowing red. When the car headlights picked up, they seen this large flying man with 10-foot wingspan, and they estimated about 6 foot to 7 feet tall, like a 7 foot tall creature. Following their cars, they were driving outside the area known as the TNT area, which was a former World War II munitions plant. During the next few days, people reported similar sightings. 2 volunteer firefighters saw it. They said it was a large bird with red eyes. Mason County Sheriff Johnson comment that he believed the sightings were true due to an unnatural large heron he termed as a shite poke.
A shite poke.
I guess so. It's SHITEPOKE.
Shite poke.
Yeah. I almost said shit poke.
Shit poke.
Yeah, I'm watching a lot of Trailer Park Birds. It's going to be a shit storm, Randy. It's going to be a shit bird.
Bubbles.
But yeah, so there's a lot of reports and, firefighters, police officers, so it's not just some kids out in the bush, drinking and probably smoking the devil's lettuce that are seeing this. There's stories too where there was a couple visiting from Pennsylvania that were coming through, had no idea of the lore, and seen it, and then went back down like, yo, we just seen this thing, and like, oh, you just seen our Mothman. You know what I mean? Now, there are still reports of seeing the Mothman in that area. They do feel that that's where he resides, but he is seen all over the world. We'll get into some of the other ones there. But after December 15th, 1966, after the collapse of the Silver Bridge and the death of 46 people, the incident gave rise to the legend and concern of the Mothman sightings to the bridge collapse. The Mothman Prophecies in 2002 is a major motion picture loosely based on the 1975 book. According to according to the newspaper, claimed the Mothman sightings were also in Moscow and foreshadowed the 1999 Russian apartment bombings. He was also seen supposedly in Minnesota when a bridge collapsed there in 2007. There are reports. I'm not reading this from this. This is just kind of what I've just knowing from what I've heard and what I've been researching. He was seen in Japan right before the tsunami hit. So there's a lot of different theories of everything there. So yeah. So like I said, he's definitely they're comparing him to like a prophet or a beacon of that something in your area is probably not good. And his sightings usually come, and then usually once the sightings stop, or get like is when something happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's no longer around. Let's see what we got here. I had a few different posts here. Right now, I think the big one. It's been going on since 2000. Let's see here, 2011. He's been seen in Chicago a lot.
Really?
So from Chicago, from 2011 on, and reports which peaked in 2017. They actually it inspired like comic books and everything. But the big thing is a lot of sightings of the Mothman have been popping up in Chicago.
Interesting.
So that's, but I mean, since then too, Tokyo happened, the tsunamis and stuff. But that's.
So, are there any photos of the Mothman?
There is one where a guy recently took it in Point Pleasant, where he was driving through and he has a photo of, but it's one of those things where is it true or not?
Is it like a potato, like a moon cookie?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick. I'll share it with you guys.
I love the Mothman. I think it's so interesting.
That's supposedly the photo. I will share this on the page too, but yeah.
I'm very skeptical when it comes to like pictures of things anymore.
This is the statue built in Point
I
Pleasant.
love that. Let's go visit it. I want to visit it.
It looks like a transformer.
He's so cute. I love the Mothman.
Yeah. Yeah, that's supposedly a photo taken of a bridge, and it was sitting on top of a bridge, but they didn't know what they got until they went back and looked at it after. So there are sightings, and people have supposedly seen it. But yeah, I know it's not a lot we dove into there. I mean, but there's so much more to it. Like I said, people have supposedly seen him everywhere.
And a lot of people, those bunkers, those World War II bunkers, are still there in West Virginia.
Yeah.
They're like the domes and whatnot, and a lot of people have a lot of activity around there, and like they're wondering if like radiation and everything from like certain equipments and whatnot from back then had something to do with it. I mean, there's always like that skeptic like scientific side where it's just like maybe there's something that like is implanting in people's brains because of chemicals in the air, and then there's just the idea that he's just like this prophet that's just like, hey, like things are gonna happen, and I'm just here to let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's great.
The Mothman.
I love the Mothman.
What I wanted to do is I wanted to actually watch the movie and see all that stuff. Have you seen the movie?
I have.
What's you said loosely based with a joke there?
Loosely based. I mean, there's a love story and like
The Mothman bang somebody?
yeah. No, like Richard Gere and like the girl there. Richard Gere is playing John Keel. And I mean it's Hollywoodized or whatever the word is. It's a love story. It's like whatever. It is what it is. And I mean like they have like Indrid Cold. Indrid Cold is the supposed, now I could be a little wrong, but I mean it's the name of the Mothman. It's the being behind Mothman. It's the angel. It's the name of the angel. It's Indrid Cold. And so in the movie, and I can't recall if this actually happened to John Keel, but I mean in the movie, it's like he keeps getting these phone calls, and like in the beginning, like the phone calls are just like blank phone calls, and then like they started. Yeah. And then
Mothman, is that you?
yeah, that's what he's just like, and he like goes crazy because he's like, "What do you want?" and stuff like that. But like it's more. Then like at one point, it's just like there's like
we triangulate the phone signal. It's coming from your roof.
But then like
Did you leave your porch light on? He's just like, turn it on.
But then like Indrid Cold starts talking to John Keel, and it's like a voice scrambler, and it kind of sounds really hokey, where it's just like, "Hello, John Keel," and it's just like, oh god, it's like, all right, man. Which I mean, could very well have happened. Like anything is, I don't know. I'm also that crazy conspiracy theorist that's just like anything like crazy like that can be tied into the government and like the FBI and CIA and shit like that. So it's just like with the Men in Black and how which is a thing, bro. So bro is a thing. But I always feel like that kind of stuff is intermingled. So it's just like, who knows?
Yeah. So that's that's a very quick Mothman. I mean, there's like I said, sightings all over the world. I know he's been used in a recent video game.
Really?
Fallout 76, which takes place in post-apocalyptic West Virginia.
Yeah.
Put the Mothman in their video game. And there's a Mothman cult of people who worship the Mothman, and you could do a story arc where you keep seeing the Mothman, and at the very end you have to then kill him.
Aww.
Yeah. But he's literally just a giant moth. It's not like a man. It's like this giant moth, and it has clouds around him. Yeah. Yeah, Fallout 76, for those who probably passed on it because it was a horrible game at first. Let's see. The Mothman also bears striking resemblance to several demon archetypes found among those who have experienced sleep paralysis, perhaps suggesting that the visions are nothing more than an embodiment of typical human fears, pulled from the depths of the unconscious and grafted into a real-life bird or animal sightings when people panic. Just trying to pull up some stuff here.
The human mind is such a fascinating thing.
I love the human mind. It's limitless. It's incredible.
Some people say it is a crane.
Shut up.
The moment when you're simping for the human mind.
When you're a simp for the human brain.
A lot of people say it was a crane that perhaps deformed, especially if it made its way to the TNT area. Which, like I see, she said radioactive, but like. Another Point Pleasant legend states that the creation of the Mothman was nothing more of a work and a very committed prankster who went as far to hide abandoned World War II munitions plants where the sightings occurred.
It's also, if I'm not mistaken, people saw it a lot before 3 Mile Island.
Yeah.
A lot of people saw it before that, and then when it happened, it was just gone. Another thing where it was just it was gone after that.
Yeah. There are paranormal explanations of a complicated theories that weave together with aliens and UFOs. They paint the Mothman as either a harboring of doom or more sinister cause. The legend that roots in tragedy to befall the Point Pleasant community shortly after Mothman arrived. So they say if you start seeing it, he's the cause of it. Not so much he's telling you it's going to happen. He is probably going to cause it because he likes death and despair.
But that's kind of that's my whole idea of like shooting the messenger, and that's kind of like the idea of the Grim Reaper, where he gets the bad rap because he's the one up in customer service, right? He has to deal with the people at the front, but actually he's the one that's just kind of like, okay, let's get you going here. But it's like, I mean, Grim Reaper isn't the reason you died. Like, sorry, you had a heart attack, but he's here to help you cross over. Like, that's how I think.
On December 15th, 1967, just over a year after the first Mothman sighting, traffic was very bad on the Silver Bridge, was built in 1928, that connected Point Pleasant, West Virginia to Gallipolis, Ohio, which panicked with cars from end to end. It had been built in a time where cars were lighter. The Model T just weighed 1,500 pounds. And the modest car after that was 4,000 pounds. So a lot of engineers said that the bridge was pretty much destined to fail because the bridge was built for a different type of car, and then being back-to-back, bumper-to-bumper traffic with cars that weighed so much more weight that the bridge was just designed to fall at all. So they say, like, listen, it was going to happen regardless of a Mothman. But once again, if he's telling you as a sign of his showing up, like, hey, you should probably look at that bridge.
Yeah, right.
It's just like oddly coincidental.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of reading some people's takes. It was the second things.
A lot of people in their testimonies will say that if they come in contact and they see the Mothman, that when they see his red eyes or whatnot, like they get like rashes on their eyes and whatnot. I mean, I don't want to discredit anybody's like experiences, but I mean, I kind of think that might be bullshit.
The Mothman also has led to ties of the Chernobyl disaster, the Mexican swine flu in 2009, the 2011 nuclear disaster in Japan. Sorry, it wasn't the tsunami; it was the nuclear Japan.
That was Fukushima, right?
Yeah, and then also
a lot of nuclear stuff.
Yeah, the Mothman can still be seen in Point Pleasant, Virginia to this day in the form of a historical museum, which is open 7 days a week, and also has a 12-foot tall chrome polished statue complete with massive steel wings and ruby red eyes. There's a festival for the Mothman.
Making him sound real sexy.
If you're passing through West Virginia this September, consider swinging through the festivities.
We got to play this festival.
Will we going? We play in that festival?
It might be tough with the COVID.
That's right.
Yeah. But maybe he doesn't believe in COVID. Maybe he warned us.
Maybe he warned us of COVID.
The Mothman just trying to he's trying to do his job.
He's like, guys.
He's like, I know I look weird. Like, I want to be on the news and shit, but like, do you see, like, I'm a fucking giant moth.
No, they're not gonna want to talk to me.
And if you touch my wings, I fucking can't fly right because the powder comes off.
I wonder how the Mothman feels about like all the moth memes that were like a big thing like a year ago.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he has social media.
Yo, Mothman, like and subscribe.
Dude, if a Mothman
Could you imagine?
subscribes to the page, I'll shit my pants.
How do we get Mothman as a guest on this show?
If he's here, something bad's happening.
Oh.
Yeah, for real.
Never mind.
Yeah, I develop like a third testicle or something. Then I gotta fucking do sex magic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a callback.
That's what we call a round, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Then I gotta learn her fucking pagan Dutch tradition.
Pagan Dutch.
I gotta pull cards out and paper cut the area.
Ugh.
Sprinkle period blood on it.
I don't do that shit, man. Like, that's too much for me. I understand it and I get it, but it's just, I'm good.
You know what's funny?
I'm good.
Imagine if that was like the cure of everything. Just like
Period blood?
Period blood. But like dudes are so like, ew, bro.
Period blood.
Like you have cancer. But I can save you. With what?
I'm good.
Period blood. Bro, I'll die.
You know that's how people
Just
would
pull
be,
my
though.
plug. Pull my plug. So now here comes the part of the podcast when we ask you, Max,
What?
if you were on death's door and somebody said menstrual blood will cure you.
Well, okay, how old am I? Have I lived a full life?
It happens in 2 weeks.
Oh.
You gotta drink a war horse tall boy.
With period blood.
I'm jumping off the roof. Not making light and suicide, but
But then
Oh my
again, you have to
God.
be, you can either think, okay, what do we have coming down the line? Now, best scenario, the virus goes away. Worst scenario, apparently everything's a hoax and New World Order or whatever. That, like, or
aliens are coming.
Listen,
I mean,
I
hasn't
mean
that-
that's a whole other podcast. I have a whole rant for that.
But, like,
I want. That's what I want next.
hasn't the government confirmed
It's already there.
UFOs or whatever?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's been okay. Everybody needs to go to
We're
their.
getting into it. We're getting into it.
Everyone needs to go to their home good FBI website because everything is disclosed on the FBI website. Everything.
Nah, what they want us to know.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But there is a lot. There is a lot where people are just kind of like, I don't know about that. And I'm just
Everyone
kinda like,
needs to check
"Mm."
out the Vatican City secret archives.
Yes.
Supposedly, there's a
Absolutely.
file on Bigfoot in the FBI website.
Does not
I'm
surprise
sure.
me.
I'm sure. There's like everything
Does
in there.
Mothman have a file on there?
Well,
Probably. There's
another one.
definitely ET disclosure.
So, like, I know the Mormons, they have, like, a whole thing where it's just, like, records of literally everything that
Yeah,
exists.
but like the Mormon religion started like what, 13 years ago.
Oh, I have no. I don't know.
13... no,
The Mormon religion is very strange.
it is.
Like what like they well, hold on, let me. The
All I'm
history of-
saying
Okay, it's definitely
is-
more than 13 years. I'll say that much.
All I'm saying is beware of the false ET narrative that's going to come out because they're putting it out at a very perfect time.
But no one cares.
That
The FBI was like, hey, by the way, aliens are 100% real. And they're like, can't you see we're fighting over Biden and Trump right now, you insensitive assholes?
and that's why they're doing it. That's why they're doing it. But it's
so when
just-
they do invade, they're like, we try to tell you.
but
But they're
that's
like, we
the
had
thing,
COVID to
they're
worry about.
That's I'm very
I'm trying
much
to make sure Susie's wearing her mask, asshole. I didn't know fucking aliens were coming.
I'm very much on the Dr. Stephen Greer aspect of ETs, where it's like there's going to be the false narrative of ET invasions that are not going to be real, but that are just going to be another
Democratic
false
hoax?
flag. Yeah.
The aliens are Democrats. They're here to fucking take us down. The reason Trump lost because the fucking aliens.
aliens.
Came. Yeah, they're fucking on Biden's side.
They're taking our guns, and now the aliens are on Biden's side.
Yeah, we would have fucking stopped the aliens if we would have took our fucking guns.
Such a strange time we live in.
That's all I want.
Isn't it
Like,
incredible?
I literally want a giant, like, Independence Day sized fucking spaceship to just fly over and park. And everyone just to fucking politicize it. Not everyone be like, oh my god, like this might be end times. Like orgies at 8 o'clock. Everyone just show up because we're all dying. You know what I mean? Like just let's all get together. Let's all you know. Because if an alien shows up, at one point you're like, please God, save us. Because you're like, oh, he's definitely not real anymore if that thing's here. You know what I mean? Like, because that throws all that out the window.
Not necessarily.
Yeah?
Yeah, not
So
necessarily.
God made green aliens too?
I
Whose
think,
image are they in?
I think there's the collective source energy where everything comes from. Like I mentioned on the podcast for the war times.
Yeah.
It's less of, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, it's less of like a magical man in the sky than it is where that source energy came from in the Big Bang, where everything was created.
I just feel like we're a giant game of Sims, and he's just like, bro, I'm gonna let them go for like a fucking couple hundred years, and then I'm gonna introduce a whole nother fucking intergalactic species.
I think
This
we
is
have a
gonna be
lot.
awesome.
I think we have a lot more
On the next
control
season
than
of
that.
Mankind, we've got aliens.
Just like Big Brother, and they're just
Tune
like
in next
preparation
season.
We're gonna do a Godzilla.
Giant dinosaurs
Listen, I
come
don't-
back to life.
I don't want people to die. Obviously, like death is not fun or funny, but if a giant radioactive lizard stomped through New York City, dude, I'm watching that on like. I'm gonna be glued to my fucking television.
It's not those you have to be careful of. It's the ones that are shape-shifting in government that you have to.
Our shape-shifting Godzilla people.
There we go.
Yeah. So much you can tie into
There's
this
so
podcast.
much.
There's just limitless topics.
I can't wait to ruin my. What's that idea of what other people think of you?
like
Perception.
the image. Like,
Yeah, I can't wait to just ruin my image.
People are gonna see you on the
'Cause
street.
people
Like,
are gonna
there's
come
the
out."
fucking crazy lizard lady.
Like there's that alien lady that's just like love and light everybody, like aggressive love.
Yeah, like I'm not
Live,
saying
laugh, learn.
not saying I believe in aliens. I'm just rooting them. I'm rooting for them to be real. Because like I said,
They
like I
definitely
just
are.
would love to see that giant spaceship come, and instead of people coming together, be like, how do we fix this problem together? To be like, this is just here to destroy Trump. Like
So like I remember having a conversation with
we
my
should have built a wall in the sky. This is why Trump won the Space Force.
Huge wall. Oh, the Space Force.
But I remember having a conversation with my dad the one time years ago, and I was like making fun of Tom Cruise because like Xenu isn't real, and he's like, well, he didn't say anything defending
Oh,
that,
be
but he's
careful.
like,
the alien Scientologists, like they fucking sue people left and right. Be careful. what
I
you say.
hate.
We did a whole episode on them. We're like, we have to be careful what we say here because if we
Yeah.
say something that's they don't like they've literally sued like a guy on a fucking Facebook post one time.
Really? That's what you guys are worried about?
Yeah,
Maybe let's bleep this part out. We can just
No.
put like
well, fuck it. Say
alien
it.
Sue me.
noises.
Sue me.
I give you my consent.
sue me.
But
I
yeah,
don't
it's like
believe it. I'll start a
I was
GoFundMe.
So I was talking with my dad about that kind of stuff, and he's like, "What? Do you honestly think we're the only ones out here?" And like, because I mean, space is endless; it just keeps going and going.
It's ever expanding. It's
So-
expanding every day.
Yeah, so like, I mean, it's possible that it's just like big nothingness, but what's really the likelihood of that? Like that?
Pretty high.
Do we really think that? Are we that full of ourselves that we're the only
Yes.
people in the whole
No.
fucking?
There's people who
everything?
are on social media that are that full of themselves that when they post something, they think that the entire world sees it and they're that important.
I mean,
That's
that's true.
It's a real thing.
That's the ego of humanity.
Yeah.
I mean, that's true.
Like realistically, like I love people. I love my people.
I love humans.
But humans suck.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, they're really faulted.
yeah, we're just real. Even if you're the most prosper, fucking pure human being on the planet, you're probably still deep down inside a piece of shit. Because that's our human
Well, that's
nature. is
human.
to
Yeah,
be-
you're not all good. You're not all bad.
Yeah.
Like, I consider myself to be a decent human being, but
I
like, there's
try.
a lot of shit that I do where I like later on I'm just like, why would you do that? You piece of
She's
shit.
a very mean person.
I'm very mean.
Like I'm like I try to be a good person, then I see something stupid happen. I'm like, just get hit by a bus, and then fucking Hottie's like, this is why we have bad karma, because you say shit like that. That's why nothing good happens to us. You
God
do so
bless
many
Heidi.
good things, and then you make fun of a guy walking on the street. I'm like,
I'll bring her some sage so she can cleanse her aura and not worry about you.
oh, well, I get it. I'll tell you something real quick with that. So like, yeah, you see a guy walking, like the guy fucking. I'm like, just get hit by a fucking truck. Like, I turn into Adam Sandler. I'm like I still have my moments of fucking weakness. But Heidi went to the, I call it the witch store in Shenandoah.
Yeah, Nature's Way Emporium.
Yes.
I love Patty. Her birthday was yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I love Patty.
We should have Patty on the show.
I love
Do you know
Patty.
Patty, like, personally?
Yeah.
We should have Patty on.
Okay.
So here's a Patty story.
We might have to go to her place to do it.
I'm cool with that.
All right.
All right.
She's so great to talk to.
I'm interested.
I love it.
So here's what happened. Heidi went to the, I call it the witch store.
Mhm.
So
is.
she goes in, And Heidi's like, because I have joint pain. So Heidi was like, maybe you should go to this lady because she does this thing with like chakras. And I'm
Reiki.
like, Reiki. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just not. I don't buy it. I'm not doing it. We're not paying like some stranger fucking.
She doesn't pay for it.
Really?
She doesn't.
Why
She says in her words, she says, I know the area that I live in.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's a lot of broken people and a lot of people that are hurt around here.
Yeah.
So I do my Reiki by donation.
Mm.
So you can go in and pop her a nickel if that's all you have in your wallet, and she will do Reiki on you.
Interesting.
She's an incredible
Maybe
person.
we'll do the podcast and I'll get Reiki done and see how it works. Do I have to get naked?
No.
Okay, cool. I don't know the rules.
Try to get naked.
She's like,
no.
I'm gonna drop this red drips on you. I'm like, I know this story. I watched fucking.
I watched Midsommar. I'm not doing this.
No. So Heidi, I guess went to her because listen, she's my wife. She's concerned about me. Like, and I was at the time going through a pretty depressing situation because like I wasn't getting sleep. I was in a lot of pain. And she's trying like minus fucking having a beer every night because like 1 or 2 beers makes a lot of it go away and I get a good night's sleep. But also not really good to be drinking that much. Or taking pain pills. I try not to do that all the time. But like,
or getting wine drunk every night.
I go to the doctors and I was supposed to get some stronger pain pills, but I refuse to take them. But anyway, wife being a good wife, so she goes to the witch store in Shenandoah, and she buys these rocks, right? These rocks and these incense. So she comes home.
Keep going.
So she comes home. And she puts these incense in the bedroom, and I'm like, "Oh shit, we're having sex tonight." She's like, I was like, "Ah, fuck, I didn't stretch." You know what I mean? When you get older, Max, you gotta fucking you know what I mean? You gotta.
Oh, that's sad.
You gotta check out your quads and stuff. So anyway, so I fall asleep, and she's like, "How did you sleep with the incense?" I said, "I slept normal. Like I like incense. I think they're.
I love incense.
You know what I mean? So she's like, "How'd you sleep?" And I was like, "Just like every other night." I was like, "So I'm trying to make her feel like I slept fantastic." And she's like. So months go by, right? She's like, "Are you sleeping better?" And I was like, "Sure, I'm fantastic." And she's like, "I gotta show you something." And I go, "What?" And she crawls on the side of me. She gets off the side of the bed and she reaches under the mattress and pulls these rocks out. And she's like, "I found the issue. I got rocks." And these rocks are supposed to help people with pain, and they're supposed to help people sleep better.
She's so cute.
I love her.
And then I'm like, "You hid fucking rocks under my bed?"
Oh, she's
Like,
so cute.
and then we see like Midsummer. I'm like, "Yo, fucking rock lady over here." Fucking.
This is my selenite from Nature's Way Emporium.
So then I stopped sleeping. I started sleeping bad.
It's beautiful.
So then she says,
Such a
she
shithead.
says I have to charge. She has to charge the rocks again. Yeah.
In the full moon, or in other ways.
You just can't put them in the sun. It's not like glow in the
You
dark
can put
stuff.
it, I mean, you can't. I mean, you literally can. Like, it's all intention, but like I do mine by the full moon and I put it in water, depending on. This is selenite. Selenite is a really like, it's very cleansing, and it's like just like pure.
Make sure it's not salt.
How does it smell? It doesn't taste like salt. Actually, it just tastes like. You can lick it if you want. I don't care.
Good, like it. You're probably gonna be
Lick
so
it.
cleansed.
your insides are so cleansed. But the cool thing
yeah.
about selenite is if you
Oh.
put like light over it, like if you like shine light it just literally just like
Like-
it goes everywhere.
like a rainbow.
Not really. It just like it. If you take a picture of it with flash, this whole thing will look white.
Okay, let's
really?
do this.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
So what is that? You said that's
It's
cleanses?
very, very cleansing. It helps cleanse other crystals. It helps cleanse.
As Max pulls out a dick pic.
No, his mom asked if she could store like groceries in my fridge because she got too much, and it happened to be like meat. So I was like, sure. And so then all day I was just kind of like, "Hey, baby, you bringing that meat to my box?" Like, because that's the kind of friendship that we have.
Okay, is that?
Oh, I'm wrong.
Oh.
Every picture I took does that though.
This is.
I'm
It's
not
not
a
a.
photographer.
It's not a. Maybe it's what it's like. It's fucking fugazi.
Ooh,
You
I don't know.
got
I like it.
you got hosed.
I love.
Is that the one
selenite.
you put in the? You pulled that out of the bag. Yeah, she has the same kind of bag and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she put rocks under my bed, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You have rocks under her bed?" But she means well. But like I said, I'm into it.
Sweet.
I want to learn about it. Maybe that could be a future guest.
I would love that.
What's her name? Patty.
Patty.
Does she get mad if you say like with the witch or like the witch store?
No, because she's very open that she's like, yeah, I am a witch because she has.
Does she know about the Ringtown witch?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she has Polish, some sort of European descent. of like witchcraft because there's Germanic, there's
Dude, I know I
whatever.
have some Christian friends that are gonna hear this podcast. I'm like, dude, you're gonna fucking die, bro.
I really do love Jesus though. Like that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like
I don't believe in him, so.
that's fine. You don't
Yeah.
have to. But I mean, I'm a big believer. I love Jesus. Like he's my boy.
He had great abs.
We were thinking of making a wartime song. That was just we were just in my
That's
apartment
Matt's-
last night.
Matt Sprague from the for he used to help out with the podcast. His screen tag, like his screen name on everything, is Jesus had great abs.
We were gonna make a song last night. This is Jesus wasn't white.
I don't remember this. How many beers did I have?
I don't. It was
You should make a
wine.
song called "Jesus is a Cheater" when it comes to hide and seek.
Anyway, this is our baby Baphomet.
Yeah.
Oh.
I actually got that in a loot crate, and that's from
Really?
that's from the now canceled show Sabrina, the Teenage Witch.
Teenage witch.
Did that get canceled?
Yeah.
See, I'm not a big fan of Baphomet, but like he can hang out. He can stay here.
So is the
I'm
T at the
okay.
is that silent?
Now,
You can say Baphomet, but I mean,
now is he more or less not the people who believe in Satanism, but the Church of Satan that kind of use Satan imagery to be funny?
yes,
Like the
to both.
like Satanism, from what I've gathered, Satanist, because I always tell people I'm a Satanist, because the term of a Satanist is that you just don't believe the norm. So like anything, if you don't believe in Christ, then you are just you're a Satanist. So they kind of taken that thing and kind of just like throw sand in your face, like they're just doing it to be funny. So a lot of this, like the Satanists,
Like a meme religion.
yeah. So they're just like, we don't really like, we're Satanists. They're like, yeah. They're like, yeah, but you believe in the devil? And they're like, no, not really. Our whole thing is we believe in ourselves. We're our own. We're our own procurers of our universe, which I kind of buy. Like I make my own destiny. Like if I get in a
Yeah.
car and I drive 120 miles an hour in the snow, I'm probably gonna wreck. That has nothing to do with divine intervention. That's just
Yeah.
me being an idiot. So I feel like a lot of your choices in life are your choices.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So like, and
There's free will. Like that's what, like a law
Yeah.
of the universe for humanity is free will.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
you can choose whatever you want. I mean, I believe that the universe will, if you jump, the universe will catch you. But that's the thing. Like you have the choice to jump or not.
Yeah. So I joke around and say I'm a Satanist just because I have a hard time believing in any type of like I've been let down, we'll say, by religion. But I
think a lot of people
don't
have.
knock people who do believe in it unless you're one of those people like, and I'm like, oh,
I'm gonna
if
save
you just
you.
like shove something down your throat, that's just annoying. No one needs that.
I have a lot of spiritual friends who also tell me too, like if I were to ever convert or change over, I'm a get, like I'm a good get because of my mentality and my mind state and the way I speak. If I were to be the voice for Jesus, I would be a good voice. I would be a
But
good.
you're a good voice already.
Yeah.
You don't even. That's the
but
whole
I'm
thing
just,
where
I would
it's
be
like,
a great like drink the Kool-Aid guy.
yeah, like thanks Jim Jones. Like
Yeah.
no, thank you. Like you're a good voice anyway.
I'm
no
starting
matter-
a cult. Starting a cult is what I'm trying to get
All right, the Kool-Aid's just gonna be period blood.
Oh, never mind.
at. You already high-fived. You have to drink it.
You've been drinking
Fine.
it. Sorry.
Yeah. You thought that was lager, bro?
War horse. Come on, there's blood in war.
Yeah. Why do you, this? It all makes sense now. The beer's Warhorse. She named your band Warhorse. We just trapped you, bro.
And also,
Warhorse
so
for the wartime.
Hazleton hero. You can't spell Hazleton without
Her.
Let.
Oh wait, no, we
what?
can't spell hero without her.
Okay, so but
Her
is that,
her ovulation.
yeah.
Oh, this I love that this.
By the way,
podcast
this is a
just
great
listen-
beer. They're out of they're at this beer. So you hear Hazleton Hero, you think this beer is out of Hazleton.
Hazleton.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's from like Rochester, New York area.
Oh,
Their grandfather lived in Hazleton, then moved out there, started a family.
That's so
That family then spawned a winery and brewery. They love their grandfather so much, and how like their grandfather was a typical coal region. I don't want to say Skook because Luzerne County, but like we're all the same, Luzerne and Skook
yeah.
County. We're
It's,
like
they're all cold towns.
they just fucking old people that sit in a bar and talk about their old times and being a coal miner and being in the war and just fucking how they put their chin strap on a Friday night and beat the
I
hell out of
love
each
that.
other. Well, that pretty much was their grandfather. Like he was a coal region boy who just went and told all of his stories, and he always had a story to tell, and just a really warm person. And they're like, "Yo, our grandfather was a cool person, and he was from Hazleton, and he loved drinking his lager." So he was in World War II. So this
I'm
is
gonna cry.
so this brewery was actually made on the premise of their grandfather, and this is like their flagship beer, the Hazelton Hero.
That's
That
nice.
is so nice.
Such a cool beer.
See, now that makes me want. I hate beer,
Big
but I want
Mike.
to try it.
Have you ever had Yingling?
Yeah.
It literally tastes like Yingling without the Yingling aftertaste. It's an amber lager. It's fantastic. I love it.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
It's beer.
Yeah, it 100% tastes like beer.
You're just like, oh,
What do you think of it?
The notes of it doesn't have the Yingling aftertaste. I'm just like, it's
I
gonna
mean, I
taste like
finished
hops.
it, didn't I?
Yeah, but did you get the Yingling? Like you get
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of
definitely
Yingling. Yeah, and that was their idea. Like they wanted to make a Yingling style beer because that's what their grandfather liked, but they also wanted to taste like that's a blue collar beer. Like that's a beer you would get at a bar. You know what I mean?
As a wine drinker that doesn't like beer, I would buy it for a party for my friends just because of the story.
Yeah. Dude, the area my dad is up there now. He lives in Cortland, but he's like a 45-minute hour drive. Like for us to drive from here to Hazleton is like him to drive to the Finger Lakes. And they have, like, it's just insane out there. Just, like, there's these giant fucking lakes and then just fucking wineries everywhere.
That's amazing.
Like the Red Cat wine,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
from there.
Oh, cool.
Like you
I
can
love
go
Red
to
Cat.
their area. I forget the
trip.
name.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Road trip.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we can definitely do it. Like I said, like my dad.
Hell
we
yeah.
can get like a place out there. Like you stay in like Watkins Glen, and then you travel all over the place. It's awesome.
Wait, they have the racetrack up there.
There is a racetrack up there.
Don't worry, I played NASCAR 09. I know my shit.
We're actually trying to get like we have a team of us now that are all getting into NASCAR secretly, and we're gonna go to races together.
I used to be like so into NASCAR when I was younger.
Dude, we already have a whole trip planned where we're gonna try to get like an RV and go to Pocono next season in the infield.
What?
Dude, I want to wear. Hopefully by that time my hair's long again if I don't back out and cut it. But I just want to wear denim overalls. But I want to cut them like right above the knee.
Oh,
right?
yes.
But not wear anything underneath them. And just walk around with a straw hat and overalls with nothing underneath.
You'll fit
Get
right
assless
in.
chaps.
And
Need
just
assless
fucking
chaps.
drink beers all. Dude, Pocono
That sounds
infield
so fun.
used to be just debauchery. It was bad. But we'll get into that off the air.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap this up. This
Yes.
has been episode 1 of Scaredy
Cast.
Banging beers.
I'm
Bang
so,
beers.
so excited to see what this logo looks like.
Yes, I'm so excited.
If you, like I said, I know a lot of people are saying like they want to be involved in anything with our show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's going to be the predominant logo you're going to see on the banner. Like
Mm-hmm.
when we have a logo, that's our logo. But we're always open. If you're an artist, like if you really want to make something, I may not be able to pay you right away because I am still a fucking unemployed dude who's getting paid unemployment checks.
Well, me.
But I will 100% throw you something when I can. But I do a thing. If you help us make a T-shirt, we could work out something that if that T-shirt, the first $100 that T-shirt makes, I'll send you that first $100 or whatever your logo cost is. Like so, if your shirt sells, you'll make the first profits on it, and then I'll also send you some swag. Usually, every single person for the most part. I haven't done it for Noah yet, but I am still working on it because he hit me with like 4 logos at one time. So I just kind of, and I tried to pay the kid, and he's a little bastard, right? He's like, I don't want money. And I was like, well, just what's your PayPal? I was like, not telling you. So he wouldn't tell me. So then I found his PayPal through someone else, and I just wired him money. He's a fantastic kid. But he did like a couple logos for us. But and then I said, yo, do you want a shirt from one of the logos you made? He goes, no, but I want an Interviews with Everyday People shirt. So I sent him, he made logos but wanted an interview shirt. So I am
What a
going to,
sweet kid.
he is still
It's
gonna,
a shame though. Like he, when we posted, we were playing the show on Friday. He said, "Oh, I need to get tickets for that." But like since it's like us,
'Cause the new
Mahantayo,
laws.
like so many people
It's
in
packed.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can't
Yeah,
even.
I think
have
it's up to
anyone in
12
person.
people, so that's already.
Yeah.
I'm sneaking in. Fuck it. Leave the door open just so I can hear.
He'll just be like
And,
at the window.
I'll
Let me in.
No, I'll be recording that day, so I won't be able to make it. But I'll catch the replay.
Yeah, it'll be
I'm excited. The debut.
The
Well, I don't even know what we're
debut.
playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about that
Yeah.
live stream? Well, you guys hit your
We
your
hit
mark.
our goal.
Did we?
Yeah.
I mean, by the time we're going to try to record like 2 or 3 episodes, so I mean none of that's going to be out. We'll just end it here. That's been the Scaredy Cast.
Thank you so
Thank you guys.
much.
Check out the War Times. Check out No Rain Checks. Check out the rest of our shows here on the IWP Network, and we'll have another show coming out for you very soon.
Yes.
Do we have an idea what our next topic is? You guys want to throw anything out before we leave?
It's got to be ET disclosure. I need to talk about it.
You want to do? All right, we'll do
we
that.
got to do it, and then whoever your friend is that wants to
So
come
we won't
on,
do
we got to
a
talk about
full
it.
dive in of UFO stuff, but it's going to be a very because there
A toe in the water.
even if we do a topic, like it's not going to be we're going to talk about a ghost one time and then end it, or we're not going to talk about a UFO experience once and end it. Like this
Yeah,
can be
you
something
can't-
we could
yeah.
do a bunch of times because there's enough stories that go around.
There's so many.
Like what I want to do is just take like one experience and do it. Like I mean, like I really want to dive in. So
I'll give you my ET experience then.
you have one?
Oh my God, I have
No.
many.
Really?
I'm a big.
You're
That's,
gonna, you're the alien girl.
I'm a big fan of aliens, man. I've been telling people, and it's gonna be like
know they
the
make
first
alien-
time that I actually like talk about
You know
it.
they make alien sex toys.
This has been Scaredy Cast.
I think that means she owns one, guys. We'll see you guys next week. It's been scary. Well, not next week, but next time we record. Just follow us. We are going to be making a Facebook page, Instagram page, Twitter page. So it's another social media page for me to run. I'm excited.
Yay.
But hopefully, you guys will help run the pages as well.
course
which
I will.
You'll be helping the page.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you're
I'll do what I can to help.
all right. And you're going to do the intro music.
Yep.
Awesome.
Incredible.
So that'll be coming soon.
Welcome to the Scaredy Cast.
Hell
I
yeah.
like it. All right. We'll see you guys next time. See ya.
Bye.